Hello, Canada. Welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Tagai. Well, we've got kind of a scattered episode here today. I'm going to try and get caught up on as much as we can. So, sounds like tariffs are coming. We're going to talk a little bit about our debt. We're going to talk a little bit about DOGE and a couple other small clips to kind of get caught up with what's going on. Let's start off with Donald Trump.
Ahead of what's expected to be an explosive week in the Canada-U.S. relationship, President Donald Trump returning to Washington poised to make his final decision on tariffs. There are new suggestions. The tariff threat may not be as severe as initially promised.
That is a fluid situation. There are going to be tariffs on Tuesday on Mexico and Canada. Exactly what they are, we're going to leave that for the president and his team to negotiate.
Trump has threatened a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, a lower 10% tariff on Canadian energy, a 25% tariff on Mexico, and an additional 10% tariff on China. On Fox News, the Commerce Secretary repeatedly saying the numbers could change.
Exactly what they're going to be, I'm going to leave that for the president to decide. He's got great advisors. I'm obviously at the table with him.
While the Trump administration says these tariffs are about improving border security, the goalposts continue to shift. The latest demand, the Treasury Secretary says Canada and Mexico should impose tariffs on China.
The Mexican leadership has offered to do that. We haven't heard from the Canadians, but I think that'd be a very good start.
Haven't heard from the Canadians. No, our glorious leader is out parading all over Europe, giving away our money. We're in trouble. This is a video I caught of a guy, it's a logger, and just listen to, he's such a Canadian. Listen to how he explains the tariffs. I thought he did a really good job.
After a lightning storm, trees actually grow faster for 4 or 5 days because the lightning releases nutrients. The same way about what's happening here with tariffs. It's a storm. It's a bit of a lightning storm, and out of that, it's going to get released a bunch of nutrients for us to grow, you know? It'll be amazing to see what 40 million great Canadians can do. Well, there's some that he had dug out for that order for James Martin.
Meet Tim Bryson. He's a logger.
Yeah, okay.
And he says, as painful as they could be, tariffs just might be the tough medicine the country needs.
Tariffs are revealing our weaknesses. Donald Trump's making us take a good look in the mirror, and it's long overdue. We need to put ourselves in a position where tariffs can never really threaten us so much again.
Tim lives in northern Ontario near the small town of Sundridge, and he believes his town is an example of what has happened to the country and why Canada is so susceptible to the threat of tariffs.
We had manufacturing here 25 years ago. Now we don't. The high school went from 1,400 kids, 1,300 kids to 400 kids. You know, we don't have a vibrant rural economy anymore.
As for the logging industry, Tim says things were bad enough even before Trump's threat of tariffs, and that he worries it may be the end of an era.
I started to get a few wood orders now, so how you making out? Okay. My great-great-great-grandfather moved here just east of town in 1878. It was like a big family thing for the longest time, but I'm kind of the last man standing of the family still in the forest industry.
We wired the block heater. The block heater comes up into the cab now, so you just plug right in right there.
Perfect.
Tim's logging operation employs 35 people.
I'm sure a guy could figure it out.
One of them is Brandon Pierce.
You know, what is the threat of tariffs? Like, what has it brought up inside you?
You know, I'm nervous. I got a family to feed and a mortgage, you know. All righty.
Brandon has worked here for years, but for how much longer, he doesn't know.
If it comes down to it, you know, the company will fold just simply because of tariffs. You know, and that sucks. I mean, trucking and all that stuff all comes together. Like, if that all collapses because of said tariff, I mean, that's a lot of people are going to feel some pain, right?
Hello, ladies.
With so much at stake, Tim has watched the parade of Canadian politicians pleading Canada's case in Washington. And Tim says our politicians missed the point.
Diplomacy is important, but at some point you just need to come home and fix our own domestic problems here, you know? We have made in Canada problems here.
For Tim, the threat of tariffs is actually an opportunity to solve those problems.
If Donald Trump doesn't want our lumber, then let's start building houses here. You know, we have all of the space and all of the lumber that we need to start fixing our housing problem.
He's absolutely right. You got to come home. Stop touring the world on taxpayer dollars, wasting our money. We are so in debt. We are so taxed. We need to really, really look into our government and chaining them down to the amount of money and funds that they can spend, because they're breaking us. Especially when you have people like
regardless
this.
of what that figure is exactly, future governments are going to have to carry that debt. The servicing costs on that are going to be very high.
Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry, that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
Okay, but it's still a lot of money.
No.
It's still a lot of money.
No.
And you don't know where. Okay, but how are you going to pay for that? How are you going to pay for those costs in future years? Are you going to increase taxes, or are you going to cut programs?
Okay.
He didn't even lock in his debt, so his interest rates are skyrocketing. Our interest rates are skyrocketing. This 86 IQ goofball spent more money in his tenure than all the other prime ministers did together. Think about that. This is our debt clock in real time. This is out of control. This is what DOGE has found so far. They say there's another $1 trillion of unaccounted money, 940 some $1 million or $1 billion unaccounted for, dead ends. So Elon found this person. She is a computer algorithm, like web pages. She started doing a podcast and a internet channel where she was creating algorithms to find corruption. Somehow Elon Musk got wind of it. Elon called her up out of the blue. Blew her head up. What, Elon? Yeah, come work for Doge. Listen very carefully to what she says.
What's one shocking or underreported piece of data that you have uncovered that more people need to know about?
There is around 7,000 NGOs that collect around 90% of taxpayer finances.
Did you hear that?
We pay around 300.
90%. 90% is going to NGOs. It's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. If they can get access to
$1 billion in government,
the CIA, the FBI, and the rest of these three-letter organizations, they can find it. Problem is, these people are hiding it. And from what the leaks are coming out, and from people who are being either quitting and running, or speaking their piece quietly, the shredders are going. They are burning and shredding information to stop people from finding out where their money went. We need people like this in our government.
Money for nonprofits. And that is a huge percentage of our federal budget. And it's not directly for the military or health or security. And we just don't have any visibility into that. We have no transparency. We cannot see who takes that money, and it's important that we find out.
Absolutely agree with you. In your view, what's the biggest lie that the American public has been told, and what data do we have that proves it?
So most people believe that there's two separate political parties, right? The Democrats and the Republicans, but that is not true. Especially when you see that all of the politicians sit on the same boards of these NGOs. So if the Republicans and the Democrats actually disagree, shouldn't they sit on the same boards? But no, they don't. They share the same board. They share the same money. And they often have names like freedom, peace, democracies, all of that.
So what you're describing really is like a uniparty that is functioning, a uniparty and a shadow government that's functioning through these NGOs and this funnel of money.
Yes, exactly that.
Well,
What they're finding is mind-boggling. And we have the exact same problem here. They give away piles of money on the ad scam that I broke a week ago or so. It's a business that makes 90% of its money from companies that are either the government, part of the government, funded by the government, or receive huge grants from the government. And it just so happens that all these organizations are heavily liberal. There's a money trail. It's just you can't find it. The government can hide pretty much anything they want. It's the government. You need to have transparency. Now, this is a clip that I caught. It's Robert Fife talking a little bit, exposing a little bit about Mark Carney. And we're going to talk a little bit about this when it's over.
He still hasn't told us what he's going to do, and we've been trying to get this information, what you're going to do about putting your conflict of interest disclosures to the public. They have ducked that over and over again. And there's a reason for this, is that it takes 60 days to declare, once you become prime minister, 60 days to declare your conflict and 120 days to declare it to the public. If he abides by that, then the election will be over before we'll even know what his financial interests are. So he's been ducking us a lot. He'll take two questions, maybe three, and then they run away from us.
This is exactly what he does, and he's been busted lying so many times. I'm actually starting to get the feeling that he may either just drop out. I just kind of got this feeling, the way the vibes are in the media and what I'm seeing from the Liberal Party and some of their comments, and especially their lack thereof, is the biggest key. But seriously, this man should not even be running for prime minister. He is an unelected official. It'll be the first time in our history that this has happened, and they're doing it through a really greasy, dirty loophole. He will have access to privy information, top secret information. Not that I don't believe he's already knows lots because Trudeau and him are buddies. People should be very scared that this guy is even running, let alone that there's a chance that he could be our unelected prime minister. That right there shows you Our system needs an overhaul. It needs to be cleaned up. Somebody actually, a news agency, caught the clip of what I was saying the other day about the Ukraine meeting. I figured I'd finish the episode off on this because you need to see it. This was going on throughout the whole, not as severe. Obviously, she's really worked up. This is where the argument took off. But earlier, it already started. And there wasn't big enough clips to put together anything. I couldn't show you like a clip, a little picture. It would be kind of fake looking. And theoretically, it would be an edited clip. Right? Could be taking it out of pretext. So I need a longer. This news agency actually caught it and they made probably a 2-minute cycle. I'm just going to show you a small clip of it. They kind of just go over the same thing in little angles, but it's the same gist. But just get a kick out of her face.
I want a ceasefire because you get a ceasefire faster than
Yeah, not happy. Not happy at all. Like I said, they were all doing it, but yeah, by the end, they're busted. They're busted. Anyways, they go off. They repeat a couple different things, show a few different little angles, but it was quite comical. If you haven't watched the documentary Ukraine of Fire, I'm just going to keep suggesting it every now and then when we do discuss Ukraine. I think it's imperative that you watch it if you want to have any basic understanding of what's going on in Ukraine. It's crucial. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Till next time, I'm Alias Guy. You've been watching the Canadian Citizen Channel. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And if you are, punch that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time.